And welcome back to the Golf Intervention Podcast. This is a new show that we're putting out. It'll be in between our big episodes. We're thinking just one question from a listener. We'll take it. We'll answer it. It'll be a short 5 to 10 minute little answer. Well, of course, we say that, but this is me and
short,
Rob
sweet,
Fales.
to the point.
So you never know how it could go. And that's what we're going to do. So we are the Golf Intervention Podcast. My name is Eric Layton, and this is my co-host, Rob Fales. We teach golf for a living, and we are focused on you learning the process of playing better golf. So these are more like little tidbitty questions that we get that don't really maybe fit into the bigger context of a show, and we thought we would just collect them and just do them up as a show and put them out, right? And then that way you can tune in. So on today's episode, we have a question from a listener. Should I use a line on my ball to help me line up in putting? Does it help me with my aim point process? We're going to give you the science behind this today, which Rob Fales has all the science. So, Rob Fales, tell me, should I use the line on my ball to help me line up my putts? And by the way, answer this carefully because I believe Tiger Woods does it.
So the first thing that we need to talk about is attentional focus. So what you place your attention on when you're placing your attention on it, right? That's going to be the most relevant thing. So in the putting process, we have three main things we're trying to do. We're trying to predict the speed and the direction the ball's going to roll, right? We need to aim the putter somewhere. And then we need to roll it that intended speed or that intended force to target, however you perceive that, right? So you have a distance and direction intent and your ability to produce that intended direction and distance, right? Pretty clear. When you are actually in stroke, so like when the putter's moving, it is my strong preference that our attention be something distance or speed or force related, not direction related. All right. Again, we have distance and direction. When we're swinging the putter, when the thing is moving, all right, either be blank, right? Be thinking about something completely neutral, right? You can be thinking about cherry pie, right? You can be thinking about whatever, right?
Pumpkin pie.
Right? You could be thinking. Again, there's no such thing, things you should or shouldn't think about. But in terms of where your attention is, I would really, really prefer your attention to be on something distance or speed or force related, right? When people use the line on the ball, I think it's only as good as your ability to then get your attention off of it when you're actually in the stroke. So for some people, the line helps get their attention off of it. In that case, for those golfers, it's like checking the box. It's like, okay, I'm going to put the line down. I'm going to put the club right next to it because I know that that's going to increase the odds that my putter's pointed where I want. And then afterwards, it's out of sight and out of mind. Not going to worry about it anymore. Completely freeing up their stroke, right? All the mechanics, the geometry of how the putter's moving in space, it frees them up. So that then they're more focused on the touch, right? The feel, right? Of getting the ball to roll the speed and the distance they're trying to get it to go. In those scenarios, I'm a huge fan of using the line. I would say in all I'll use the word testing that I've done, more often than not, it's really, really difficult for golfers to do that. More often than not, it keeps their attention on the line for too long. And in those scenarios, I tend to discourage players to do that. And it does require them to be pretty honest with me about where their attention is. And there's some training that I do with players to learn how to be aware of your attention, because I think that's a skill in of itself. But I would always start with that. It's like, okay, is it allowing you to be athletic? Is it allowing you to be free? Is it allowing you to pursue what it is you're trying to pursue? I think that would be the first domino for me in kind of like making that decision. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say that, first of all, it doesn't necessarily make you a better putter in any way, shape, or form. So just from a coaching standpoint, if you believe you have to, I was on the putting green one day and somebody was really struggling. And they said to me, like, I don't know. And I said, well, what's going on? And I get this line on the ball and all this stuff. And I said, well, just don't use the line. And it was like, it was so freeing to him. Like, oh, I don't have to use the line. I'm not going to give it. No. I think the studies that have been done are very inconclusive about the line, potentially. What I would say from an anecdotal standpoint is some people do better with a line. Some people do worse with a line. And a lot of people try it and just feel like they're taking forever and can never get the line lined up. Yeah. And then when they stand over it, they don't trust what they're seeing anyway. And so then they're, to your point, they're so consumed with something other than just executing a putt that they never do it long enough to incorporate it into their routine in a way that doesn't slow, that they don't feel like they're slowing up everybody else. So
agree.
I would say no, that you do not have to, but it's something to explore. And some people do better and some people don't. And that's a kind of an inconclusive question. But the point is, the belief system doesn't have to be that it's better or that you should do it. That's it. And I have nothing to add to that. Yeah,
no, it's in like I would completely agree. And then you would want to test and see, because obviously everything is like this cost benefit, right? So like number one is like, is it allowing your attention to be on something that's speed or distance related when you're actually stroking the putter? If it is, then it's like, okay, is the line actually helping you start the ball closer to your intended start line, right? And then you'd want to test that. You'd want to, okay, like let me run like a 20 ball test. Let me have something like, let me have TrackMan. Let me go. This would be, by the way, a great reason to go take a lesson. Say, okay, pro with TrackMan or not with TrackMan. You don't have to have that. You just have something for feedback, right? You can use where the ball stops. You say, okay, when I use the line, what's happening? When I don't use the line, what's happening? Can you just tell me what the data is showing me? And we can do a test. We can literally do a 10 to 20 putt test. And I can tell you, with the line, without, which one is starting the ball closer to your intended target. So just test it out, right? That would be the next thing. And I think that would probably trump, depending on the person's mindset, right? Let's say that when you're using the line, let's say that you struggle with getting your attention off of it, but it's helping you actually start the ball on line, then it might be worth it in the short run to then learn how to control your attention, to then be able to use the line, get your attention on it, and then get your attention off of it, right? So I would probably say the performance and what it's actually doing for you would be the trump card there for me, because you can always improve your attentional awareness of where you're placing your focus. And then the last one that I would say is like, just make sure that the line is pointed to something that makes sense, right? So a lot of times golfers are going to have an aim point, right? So if you're doing your aim point process, you're going to get a certain amount of break between when the ball starts and when it gets to the hole, right? And you can pick a point out by the hole to point the line at. That's how I would recommend you do that. But other times golfers are going to find a point along the curve, right? They're going to find an apex. They're going to find, right, other points along the putt that they want the ball to roll over, and they mistakenly believe that the ball's going to roll in a straight line to that spot. So they'll point the ball somewhere along the curve. And in that case, usually using the line would be detrimental to their putting, because it's going to create conflict between what the read they're getting is and where they're actually pointing the ball, right? So just make sure that where you point the ball is on the start direction, the initial start direction. As soon as that ball comes off the putter, the direction that ball's moving, not somewhere along the curve the ball is going to be rolling. That's much more speed dependent. So that would be the main consideration I would make for that.
Awesome. And that's it. There's a conclusion. If you can do it and you can put it into your routine and it helps you actually start it on the right line, then you should try it. And if not, don't use it.
That's right.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Golf Intervention Podcast. We'll be back at you next time.
Cheers.